welcome to BrickVault. My name's Jack, and today I'm pretty stoked because I took about 2 weeks, or a little over 2 weeks, to make a custom MOC of my own design, something that I've been wanting to make for a long time, but I never did. And then April 1st happened with the third season, first episode of Rick and Morty that came out, and I decided to jump on the project. And, well, anyways, this is what it is. Right, so we've got Rick's portal gun from Rick and Morty. It's looking, I think, in its final stages. I'm constantly still tweaking it from time to time. It's got a custom stand for right now, but as always with these kinds of videos, I like to show you guys sort of the process on how a bunch of Legos turns into an actual build. So let's start off with the beginning of how this build started, and we actually have to go into the Lego City for that.
So here we are in the Lego City, and you might be wondering why we are starting out here, and that is because we need to do something with this fire station. If you zoom in a little bit, you can see that 1932 sign, and I actually need that for the initial part of the build. So here it is, the 1932 plaque. I just pried it out of the side of the fire station, and all I really want to use this for is referencing how to build up the display screen for the gun. That's the very first step for me. So here is the portal gun display screen reading C137. It's built in a very similar fashion to how pretty much all of the signage is done for a lot of LEGO Creator sets. And now it's time to build the body to house the screen. And it's also really important to figure out early on how to attach the handle at the proper angle and have it still be structurally sound. After a lot of fiddling about with different techniques, this is sort of a basic design of what some of the interior is going to look like, but I'm going to level with you right now. I actually changed up that internal structure a lot before we got anything close to the final product. Believe it or not, about a quarter of the time passed between the first build section and the second one, and it looks like a lot more of the gun is now sort of in its final stages. Once again, this is not as close as it could be or ends up being at the end, but here we at least get a pretty good look at the shape. I know most people are gonna say that the glass dome is definitely not quite as big as it could be or should be. It might be a little bit too wide and also not tall enough. I can say that the final build does get a little bit taller, but at the end of the day, I kind of just wanted the right pieces to fit the right places, and those cylindrical dome windows are actually, I think, the seed piece that really sort of made me think I had the proper parts to start building the portal gun in the first place. Now I'm demonstrating to you how not very structurally sound this thing is right now. Every time I hold the handle, the entire front body of the gun wants to almost break off or just bend forward in a really, really bad way. And I haven't even finished building a lot of the extra front paneling that is going to add even more weight to the front of the gun. Now, I do want this build to be primarily a display piece, but at the same time, I just hate having something built out of Lego and it being completely delicate, so I just know we can do better. Alright, and even less time has passed since the last build, and the first thing you'll notice is, of course, the glowing green orb that's floating in the center of the glass container. It's propped up by a bar piece at the bottom, but you can also see some green snakes that are giving a bit of extra detail. I might change that in the future, but the main thing I've been focused on this whole time is making the handle stronger, and as you can see, it is. We still have a bit of wobble there, but at the end of the day, there's only so many different connection points you can actually have for the handle to attach to the body. I've pretty much detached as many as I know how to. All right, and we've just jumped forward a week, by the way, because I had run out of parts to actually complete the gun. And in the midterm, I sort of changed up some of the attachment designs, not a huge amount, and I've also kind of just added as many parts as I could in order to really flesh out how I want this thing to look at the very, very end. Anyways, all of our BrickLink pieces are in, so let's finish off the build. boom, there it is. It's looking as good as I want to. I had a few ideas on how to maybe change up the dimensions a little bit, but of course at this point it would require almost a complete rebuild, especially when you want to change up a slight structural difference. But ultimately, I'm really happy with the way this thing turned out. And actually, this is just a quick pan over of what the office generally looks like when you're caught up in a custom build, or what my office looks like. I don't know about how other people organize their Lego. I've got 2 different tables and 2 different separate piles of mostly different white pieces. A lot of what you're looking at are just different shapes that I was considering using. Some were designs that I had implemented and then taken out later. And ultimately, with the size of the builds that has turned out with the portal gun, I'm pretty happy with the small amount of mess that is left over. Okay, and now we're looking at Rick's portal gun inside the light box. I might have even made 1 or 2 tiny little change ups in between the final build video and what you're looking at right now. And I guess let's take a look at some of the details of the build just a little bit closer up, starting right in the front. First of all, it is not completely symmetrical, which I was trying to get there, but there is a single extra tile piece on the top, and then the 3 green lights in the center. I was hoping to have as an actual light pieces with those little internal bars, very similar to what you're looking at right now with that Rick figure. I've used that instead for the chamber on the top of the weapon. So anyways, perhaps those pieces will be included in my next BrickLink order. And then here is the portal gun now from the top angle. You have a better idea now of what this gun is supposed to look like with the energy crystal floating there. And there's also a better view of this display console being just a little bit deeper inside the body of the gun, and the tire piece, the simple, just a tire piece used as the knob on the top. The tire does spin around, it doesn't do anything. Of course, the best case scenario for future builds would be to have the tire rotating around, and that would activate a light brick that lights up the green crystal in the center. I don't think that's entirely impossible, but the way I designed this gun for now I would have to basically make a brand new portal gun altogether in order to get something like that to work. Now, I didn't really show you what the C-137 build looked like from the back, so when I show it from behind, you can see this is basically the exact same technique that Lego Creator used to create the 1932 sign, and very similar techniques like that have been used for tons of signs in the past. And adding it into the gun itself, it doesn't actually attach in there. You just kind of push it in, and enough tension is, or friction between the bricks keeps the thing all in place. Now let's move to the back of the gun. This is kind of where I'm the most self-conscious, and this was easily the most difficult part of the entire build. I spent probably 80% of the entire build time working on this area, and that was trying to get these curved edges to match up flush with the actual body of the main part of the portal gun, and ultimately I didn't really succeed. They are about 1/4 or 1/3 of a plate off. It's just sort of the way the pieces worked out on the inside, and in order to get the back to be flush, you kind of have this little opening on the corner, which doesn't look good. I have sort of an idea in my mind on how I want to make that thing flush. Again, I haven't tested out the latest hypothesis, but that is by far the worst part of the build. And then now you're looking at the side wall. Anything that is 2 bricks high or 3 bricks high, that is actually the outside version of just a white sort of window piece. We had a bunch of those left over in one of our spare parts drawers, and those pieces greatly help to reduce the weight of the front of the gun. Now, in terms of actually handling the portal gun, it feels pretty good. The grip is all right. I mean, it's very, very smooth, of course, but the weight of the entire front model of the build doesn't seem to be pulling down too hard on the handle. I'm sure if you really shook this thing around, the front half would probably break off from the handle, but I mean, this the main goal was really just getting this thing to feel comfortable in your hand, and also you yourself feeling comfortable picking this thing up and moving it around.
All right, that is it for this episode, everybody. Thanks a lot for watching. Remember, if you enjoy our content, you can always like or subscribe. And if you have any ideas about another Lego MOC you might want to see us do in the future, maybe another Lego Rick and Morty build, let us know in the comment section below, and hopefully I'll get around to it sooner rather than later. But other than that, that is it. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time at BrickVault.